right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us at Home Style. This panel will be talking with Carissa, and it's going to be super exciting. I just want to go over some quick housekeeping notes. If at any time during the session you would like to leave a question or comment or a technical support concern, you can do so in the chat box, but just know it is public, so everyone will see what you're sending through. There's also a special Q&A section built into Zoom if you want to send your question through there. We'll be starting the panel and we'll have the chat first, and then we'll get into your questions towards the end. So don't worry about getting them in right away. Whenever you get them in, we'll be fine. And also, so you know, this panel or this session will be recorded and available later. So if you missed something or you want to go back and enjoy, you can. And please make sure to follow us at Glam Hive so that you can keep in touch with us and keep track of what's going on. Also, a quick thank you to Mary Kay, our presenting sponsor, because without them, none of this would have been possible. So let's get started. Carissa, do you want to tell the people who you are and what you're doing?
I would love to. Hi, everyone. I'm Carissa Thompson, and I actually know Jack from my previous life. I worked at a show called Extra, an entertainment show. By day, I was an entertainment reporter and a sports reporter. Now I'm just in the sports reporter host space. So I have freed up time in my schedule to allocate it to what is always been and a love of mine, which is home design, renovations, small, big, whatever, is something that I've always done for myself in places that I've lived. I mean, even back in college, I would, much to the chagrin of my landlords, because they were, I was renting, paint walls and do a bunch of things that I wasn't supposed to do. I would never get my deposit back. But I always found it very, very important psychologically to live in a space that you loved, even if it was temporary. So I started a company called House and Home. And the conceit behind it is truly to make your house a home, whatever that is, whether it's temporary or it's a rental or it's your permanent forever home. Really just give people an opportunity to have affordable luxury and take the guesswork out of it and do the work for you, because I know it can be overwhelming sometimes to think, like, where do you even start? So try to simplify the process for people. And it's also why I'm thankful to have the opportunity today, Jack, not only to catch up with you, but also to hopefully help people when sometimes they feel overwhelmed, very similar to how Jack would help me, in the entertainment space. I hope to help people in the home space.
Well, thank you. That's such a sweet thing to say. Thank you. I mean, obviously now with everyone spending so much time at home and our houses becoming our workspace and our entertainment space and everything, is there an idea that anyone can kind of implement to create a more positive home space or a more comforting home space, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, number one for me is always get rid of the clutter, because I think that, right now we are overwhelmed with all the exterior things that are happening in the world, and whether that was the election, whether that was COVID, whether that was, all the different outside your home elements that were kind of infiltrating your sanctuary. For me to feel less cluttered in my mind is always purging things. So that doesn't cost anything. And it's also an opportunity to donate, right? Like if you go through your closets and get rid of clothes and donating those, whether it's to a Salvation Army or to a women's shelter. I mean, even all the toiletries in your bathroom, how many lotions do we need? How many shampoos do we need? So truly like starting in just that, clean slate and seeing what it is that you can get rid of in order to make room. Someone gave me a great piece of advice one time, is that in order to bring things into your life that you want, you have to get rid of things in order to make room for those new things to come in. So I always try to think about that whenever I feel cluttered or overwhelmed. I get rid of things in my home that I don't need, and it always frees up space for new things.
That's lovely. I like that. I came from New York, so I'm very used to living in a shoebox apartment. Obviously decluttering, getting rid of things is a great way to handle living in a small space. Is there anything else that people who may be living in a space smaller than their imagination allows for, is there anything they can do to kind of maximize space, especially since now you're working in the space you're living in?
So it's all about organization when it comes to, so I also spent my time in New York, and That apartment in New York is very different than this home in LA, where you have the space to sort of move freely. And so there, like for my pantry, for example, the first thing I did was I went to the Container Store, and you can find cheaper alternatives, but get some storage, to some shelving, even for the pantry. So you weren't, moving your 7 bags of popcorn out of the way. Everything has its place. And again, going back to that decluttering thing, is that when you know where to find things, it makes it less frustrating to be in a small space. So I would say number one, if you're in a small space, organization, organization, organization. So whether that's baskets for things, if you have got kids, I always say the cheapest thing, and I've got a whole, Jack, well, thank you for asking. Let me show you. These are a few of my favorite things over here. And they look like they're out of order on the floor, but there actually is a rhyme or reason to all of this. But baskets is the number one thing for, I would say, that's very inexpensive, and you can organize. So you've got kids, throw all their toys and stuff in here. If you have blankets, like I have blankets everywhere, put those in a basket. If you don't have shelving, like upstairs in my bathroom in this home, for whatever reason, the contractor didn't build like a linen closet. So I just put and folded up towels in a big basket right next to the shower. So baskets and organization are number one and very inexpensive in a small space.
Okay, cool. No shell. Was the contractor a straight man, I'm assuming?
Obviously, because
Happy left other. How they run the world, I will never know.
because I walked in there and I was like, great bathroom. There's 2 sinks, but not one place to put a towel. This is not thought out.
Not for a woman, at least. How important, because like as someone who comes from the world of clothing, to me, color is more important than almost anything. It's like fit, then color. Is it the same in a space? Is it,
Yeah, I mean, I think so. 2 things. Again, as you can tell, I painted this wall behind me because I believe in a pop of color. Like, it was a very neutral space, and I like to have those accent walls. I was inspired by Soho House. That's another thing I highly encourage people to do, is places that you go, whether, yes, we're quarantined, but the places that that you've been to and you love, whether that's, for me, it was the Soho House vibe whenever I walked in there. And so I took elements from that, whether it was a gallery wall or that rich green or the lighting in there. Those are elements that I like to incorporate into my own home. And so for color, a very inexpensive way to add color into a space without having to be super committed is pillows. And so for example, like if you want a pop of blue, then you add a pillow to it. And then you can change this out at any point. And especially when you get pillows, which I highly encourage, that have the inserts in them. So here's your down insert. So when you're over this color, or you want to change it seasonally, which is also a great idea, just to feel like you've renewed your space, you just get the exterior. Home Goods, TJ Maxx, all that stuff. If you see a very ugly pillow at TJ Maxx, you can still buy it for a good insert. And then you go on a place like Etsy or different online services. And what I do is I buy a bunch of pillow, the exterior, like these. And then you can just swap them out whenever you want. So you just take that insert, swap them out here. So it's a very inexpensive way to change out the look of your space without having to commit to a wall color.
Oh, wow. Okay. Go out and get my.
You in on that, Jack? Because I don't know how to dress myself. That's why you were very important to me in my previous life. But I think that it is similar to fashion, right? Where it feels overwhelming. You're like, I don't even know where to start. But someone like you who's next to you in the space, you're like, try this, try this, try this. And you're like, oh, I love that. So it's just about narrowing down the choices and not being afraid to take a few chances here or there, but keep the couch neutral, keep the tables neutral, and then add your pops of color in the accessories.
Okay. Now, is there any specific color combinations or colors that you feel like could both promote calmness as well as stimulation, so that like you want to, in a workspace, you want to feel alive, you want to feel like you're ready to work.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're working from home, you need that feeling, but you don't want to feel like you're buzzing when you're not working.
It's a great question. So again, going back to that idea that everyone is working from home these days, so you want to transport yourself to where you really want to be. So I always think artwork is a fantastic way to do that, right? So there's a site called Society 6, which I swear by. In fact, Jack, stand by. This is like I'm on a game show and I just keep going and getting things over
I
here,
like it.
right? Well, I'm
Supermarket
a
speed.
visual learner and this is a visual medium. So I got having like one a day from Society 6. So your guess is as good as mine of what's in here. But I buy artwork and then I frame it. So it's very inexpensive from this site called Society 6. And you go on there and you buy these prints. I don't know what this one is. Let's find out together. Oh, okay, so this is a very like neutral print. So something like this, and then you just frame it. So this is 20 bucks off the site, delivered right to your door. Very heavy canvas, durable. You take it to your framer. Oh, how cute is this one? This is for a client actually that I'm working on. They live in Chicago, and it's a random llama sticking out of the head of a cab in Chicago. So
Actually, it's like a guy I used to date in Chicago. So
well, I was just gonna say, is that my ex-husband? No, okay, no, that's not him. Similar though. Oh my God, no, he wouldn't even be able to afford a cab. Forget it, that's not him. So you just take the cheap artwork and then you take it to a framer, make friends with your framer, or go to Target and buy the frame, the corresponding frame that matches this, especially on a smaller print like this, like an 11 by 24, you go to Target and then it's your artwork. So in your office space, if it's Positano you love or Capri, or pretend like you're on vacation and bring those elements of places you love or people you love. If it's, I have a gallery wall right here. I love Jack Nicholson.
oh.
It's there. I love Elizabeth Taylor is on that wall. So places or people you love, put them on the wall.
Okay. Ooh, place. I would have never thought to put like places that I like. Just okay. I'm over here taking notes.
Because right. I mean, if you can't go there, especially like I love Italy, but no one's going there, for a while. So might as well make me, at least look at it and make me happy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I know. I mean, talking about decluttering and stuff. Would you identify as a minimalist or a maximal? Like, where do you fall in the spectrum?
I think I'm in the middle. Is there I mean, I don't pretend to be a real designer. Let's be honest. I mean, I've always made a joke. Like, I'm not a designer. I didn't go to school for design. There's sometimes like people will say things like, oh, what do you call that? I'm like looking through the book, like, what is that called? I don't know. But I think that the reason why I love this is because I just can see things, so I don't know if I'm definitely not a minimalist because I like warmth in a space. I'm not drawn to I mean, this house is very modern, like the lines of it are very modern, but I warmed it up. So I think that my personal taste is somewhere in between that, like traditional and modern. It's just more of a hybrid, I would say, of the two. But for clients, I really like, I'm doing a house right now that she loves mid-century modern, and that's not necessarily like the taste that I have, but I love doing it because it fulfills that creative muscle that I wouldn't be able to implement into my own space.
Yeah. I mean, just knowing you, I feel like you're the type of person who like would buy the quality bag or the quality shoe because it's good. And I'm just guessing it would be the same in a home where it's like invest in the pieces that really bring you joy and that will last.
Yeah.
And stuff like pillows, whatever. Like you can,
Right.
but like you get the great couch and you get the great coffee table and those types of things. But then
But it is, Jack. That's exactly what it is. It's the bag and the shoes, and then the T-shirt can be from Forever 21 or Zara or whatever. And the T-shirt in this case is the pillow cover or is the the blanket, like those kinds of things. But yeah, a couch that gets the most use, or coffee tables. This one, I actually bought this house and bought some of the furniture that was in here. And a big reason why is because I like that the solid. It's like anchoring in a room. If you're going to have a vast space, a lot of it has to do with proportion of your furniture in the space. I think sometimes people get either way too small or they get it way too big. So it's measure twice and cut once. I always say it's that really make sure that what it is, and especially since, a lot of my design business, in our company, it's 80% virtual. So really making sure that you're getting the proportions right for a client's home that you don't have the opportunity to walk through. So
now with with furniture, can you kind of play with proportion the way that you would with clothing? Like if you were to do a crop top and a wide leg pant, can you do that with furniture? Does it translate, or do you kind of have to stay in similar realms?
I love that. I love that question. No, I would say that like this coffee table is like it's two at it. It's way bigger than I probably would have put in this room, but they're so damn heavy I couldn't get them out of here, so I just kept them. But then I would do something like the acrylic. So because there's so much wood in the coffee tables here, so if you have something that's this heavy, then you have to go light over here. So I did an acrylic side table, so you're not getting wood and wood and wood. So I guess to bring it back to fashion is that idea of like, if you have a chunky shoe, you're probably not going to have a chunky sweater. I mean, I don't know. You're the expert in that field, but I would guess that like you're going to play with it, right? When you have like an earth element of wood, you just don't want more wood on top of more wood. So try to balance the two so it doesn't all feel heavy.
I mean, I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, and there could not be enough wood in furniture and home deck in those time periods. It was just like layers of it.
Right. And that big, bulky, black, brown, like hutches and furniture and stuff. And a cheap way to like, if you have those right now and you can't afford to swap out your furniture, take out the drawers in them, some of them, like, or paint on the inside, like if it's a hutch, for example, paint the inside of the hutch white and keep the outside dark. So at least it lightens it. Like I just did that with a client who her house is up in Lake Arrowhead and she doesn't want to swap out all the furniture because she doesn't want to invest in that money. But just painting the inside of something like that will already make it feel a little less bulky.
Oh, that's so. A friend of mine from college worked at Martha Stewart for years, and she had that eye, and I
Mhm.
had these big built-ins in my living room in New York, and they were big. And she was like, I'm going to work on a pet project," and she painted the backgrounds of all, like just the back, not anything, persimmon. So, and it was
Oh,
mostly covered with books, so you didn't really see it, but it added another layer. And I never really
amazing.
even thought about it until you just said that. So,
Yeah, no, but it's true because she was lightening it without having to do a lot. Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so fusing our two worlds, do you have any suggestions for people who want to organize their closet or dressing space?
Yeah, I did that. I actually hired a company a couple years ago to do that for me because I was so overwhelmed going back to our initial conversation about we're just having stuff everywhere. And they brought in like Tupperwares, like literally Tupperwares, like for bras and for underwear or for hosiery and things like that. And I was like thinking to myself, like, I'm paying them way too much money. I could do this crap, right? But like it's something as simple as just going to or online, ordering, off of Amazon or whatever, little Tupperware containers and being able to organize things that way. Very inexpensive. Excuse me. So I would start with that. We're just being able to separate stuff within the drawer and also rolling your clothes. That's like my number one thing is like for workout clothes and things like that. You can see things so much better when you roll them out. Like you roll them like this, like military. My sister was in the military. She's like, you can pack way more shit in a suitcase if you roll it. I shouldn't say shit on here. So you roll it and then you put it in the drawer like that. So when you open it, you can see everything as opposed to stacking clothes on top of each other. Cause that t-shirt on the bottom is never going to get worn because you haven't seen it in
And the
years.
ones on the top are just going to get abused because you're going to throw them around and they're going to get caught as the drawer closes.
Yeah, exactly, Jack.
Yeah, I see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually, so pro tip coming from me, Costco sells a lot of those like clear bins and stuff that they're at the Container Store. So
Oh,
me being a boy on a budget, I like the
and-
Costco clear bin. So
oh, fantastic. Yeah. Container store is very expensive. That's like the bougie. That's like we're going to go to Bristol Farms and Gelson's.
okay,
I'm
but
looking
how
for
lovely is that
Ralph's.
experience? Just like it just feels rich just walking through Container Store. You're like, oh, the
Right?
possibilities.
That plastic bin will be $75. You're like,
Yeah, yeah,
I'll take it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It
the
does make me
Airwalk
really excited though.
plastic bin.
Organization makes me happy.
Yeah, same. I was just in the last panel I was on. I was saying, like, my happy space is not like walking through a department store. It's like Staples or like
Give me a Post-it or a gel roller any day.
like a file folder. Get out of town.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we speak a similar language.
Mhm.
Um, so there's I'm sure there's a lot of people who are fashiony watching. And then, so, I think they probably would want to know, how do you decide when you're decluttering what from your closet? Because I don't know about you, I hold emotion in my clothes. And so,
Mm.
like, how do you decide when you're trying to get rid of them? What do you keep for sentimental reasons? And what do you say, I have the memory, that's all I really need?
Oh, because yours truly, as you can attest, and half those dresses I would try on that zipper would not go up. I'm like, I fluctuate with like I am one size one day and I'm another size another. So I think I purge things based off of fit. And then I hold on to the few things where I'm like, oh, those are my skinny, whatever. And I'm gonna hang on to it just because I want to feel good in them, right? When I can squeeze my hands back into them. But yeah, I would say that. I would say off of the size that I am, but then also the longevity of the piece. Like if there's those few items that I know that I spent a lot of money on and have held its value, then I hold on to those. I'm saying it in particular. There was like this one, like I don't never buy a Gucci blouse ever, like ever. And I did, and I bought it, and I still like get happy. I'm happy when I see it. It's paid it, it's been worth the investment.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a Gautier suit.
Yeah.
Like, it was vintage when I bought it. So it's, old as dirt.
Stuff.
Certainly doesn't fit me anymore. But it sits in my closet
And you
because
love
it's
it.
because I love it. And
Yeah.
like, I'm like, well, I could put, other stuff in there, but
No.
it might not bring me as much joy. So until I find something else to replace it,
Yes.
that's it for now.
Sparking joy.
Yeah. Um, okay, so since people can't travel and, there's not really the ability to socialize as normal, is there anything anyone could do to kind of create a staycation feel within their own home?
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff that you can do. Going back to what I was saying, even like for pictures of places that you like to be. But I would say maximizing your outdoor space. So your outdoor indoor space, if you have, you want to, you have to be home, but you want to at least experience the fresh air. If you have like a yard of any kind, or even just a little, patch of grass or some semblance of a patio, I would say make that area your little oasis. And that's as simple as bringing in new cushions on the chairs that were previously out there, the outdoor furniture. Or if you have indoors, if you have, since you'll be home to water them, I would say bring in live plants. The energy of a live plant will also make you feel like there's some, life in your home. And also bring in a little bit of tropics, depending on what kind of plant that you get and what area you're in, that you can sustain that. But I think that any plants, and I have to my fiance got me these flowers because apparently it was our anniversary. I didn't know that because I don't keep track of these things, but he does.
He's a
Um,
big softie.
which is why I'm probably marrying him. But so flowers. So again, and if you don't want to spend the money, there is a bazillion opportunities. Walk right outside your door, and you can. I cut crap off my neighbors, like the eucalyptus trees I see, or when I'm walking my dog. I'm not kidding. I'll like pull off branches of stuff and then just put it in a clear vase, like whether it's seagrass or it's the eucalyptus or even just really pretty greens. Put those in a vase and just have an element of life in your space.
Okay. I'm the king of the Trader Joe's flower. They have,
They're so inexpensive.
I
Uh-huh.
don't know how
Yep.
that's not like talked about more often.
It's such a good point, Jack. It is. The lilies, like if you go to Whole Foods and buy like 3 lilies, you're looking at like
Highly recommend.
$40. I'm like, get out of here with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm an East Coast kid, so I love a hydrangea. And they're always good. It's lovely. Anyway, pro tip
They
for
are,
everyone.
but the hydrangeas are finicky. You better not put that AC. You better put the AC on in your place. I'm saying if it gets too hot, a hydrangea is out.
Yeah, I mean,
Not happening.
but when it's good, it's good.
When is Since I've
Um,
said it once, I've said it twice about a hydrangea.
so for people who maybe don't have the budget to tackle their whole living space,
Mhm.
how would you say is a good way to prioritize which rooms they do first?
Whatever room that you're in the most. So if it's your living room, I would start there. And very inexpensive ways to update your living room is with lighting and with a rug, or as I mentioned, like pillows. So Well, Jack, this is the part I show you another trick up my sleeve. So lamp shades. Let's say you have an old lamp and you don't want to buy, or you can't afford to buy a whole new lamp, just buy a new lamp shade and you update it with something like this. Like linen is very neutral and it will like, even if your lamp is the base of it is red, you put a linen shade with that, it already looks modern and updated and things like that. So a lamp shade is to date on a budget. And then rugs.com or Amazon has incredible rugs, very inexpensive. That also just something like this old vintagey look. If you want to just change up your whole room and you want to make it feel like it's a whole new space, adding something like this, and I like a distressed rug. They make them very inexpensive nowadays, but doing something like that. So rugs, lighting, and just swapping out those pillows are the cheapest ways to update your space. And then if it's something like a bedroom, same idea, right? You could get a new rug on the floor there, or if you don't have one, add a rug. And you can cheat it by not having to buy a huge one to fill. Like people think like you need to buy a massive rug for your bed. You don't. You can cheat the rug halfway underneath your bed out to off the footboard. So your rug doesn't have to go from the wall to the end of the bed. So to save money, buy the smaller rug and just position it halfway down your bed.
Okay. Speaking of bedrooms, this is just a question for me personally. Like I would love to only have Fretti or Protezi sheets, but like it's not practical. Do you have any advice for anyone who wants sheets that maybe feel nice but aren't going to break the bank?
I'm with you on that because you spend a third of your life in sheets. So if you are going to spend money and if you have the money, great, spend it there. But I'm with you. Like I don't have those sheets and I probably never will. Brook Linen, I love it's incredible quality. It gives you that luxury and the feel is wonderful. You're just not breaking the bank. And keep in mind, like all of these holiday sales, I know for a fact that they're having one, like their Black Friday sale starts next week, actually midweek. A lot of Black Friday sales are not just reduced anymore to that Friday. It's like they start at the beginning of the week. But so Brook Linen, and then also a Target line, it's called Casaluna. They do a really nice job with their linen duvet covers, and their bedding is very inexpensive. And you get you get to feel like you have a little bit of luxury. So I would say that's the higher and the low. The Brook Linen is a little bit more, but still very affordable. And then the Target line is Casaluna, and that's available online too. I use that a lot.
Okay. I need to take notes. Also, I sleep hot, so.
Oh, yeah. So you know what? There's a company, this is a little bit pricier. It's called Sheeks, SHEEX, I think it's Sheeks. And they have, first of all, the sheets don't wrinkle. So already I'm in on that because I'm the person who brings them to the dry cleaner and has them pressed because I hate wrinkles in my sheets, which is an exorbitant amount of money to pay. So cheap way to do that. The hack of that is throw the sheets in the dryer with some dryer sheets. And that helps take out some of the wrinkles. But anyways, Sheeks doesn't wrinkle and it's really good for somebody that runs hot and like it's cooling.
Okay. I'm actually taking notes right now. Like
don't worry, this is recorded, so we'll go back and watch it. If you have any questions, text me.
So I've got more of a spiritual type of. Do you have rituals that you do in your home to make it feel either calm or like safe? Is there anything you do?
I always have a candle on. I don't know if you can see the candle right there.
Yeah.
The flowers. It started from when I was young. My mom, the second she would walk in the door, she would light a candle. And it's just something that I have taken with me. I then also forget that the candle's on and I'll be halfway down the 405 being like, shit, I hope that doesn't burn the house down. But so if you light a candle, make sure that you remember to blow them out. But yeah, I always light a candle. The scent, and especially with holidays, you can get, whether it's gingerbread or vanilla or something that feels seasonal. A candle is something that I incorporate in all spaces. It just gives you that kind of warm, delightful feeling. And the byproduct, of course, is good fragrance.
Oh, okay. You know what I found on Amazon?
What?
It's a line of candles that smells exactly like the candles at Chateau Marmont. And they're like $30.
What? Tell me. I know. Well, you have to send me the link.
I'll send you the link, but I
Yeah,
think,
send me the link. Because look, I love a diptyque candle, but who can afford it? You know?
and it looks cute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I feel like I've used or bought that or something before.
It's like, I think it's like mandarin orange tea or something is
Ooh.
the scent, but it's just
Yeah.
like Chateau. It's
Love
crazy.
that. I love
Yeah,
that.
because those
Great.
ones are like $200.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Robbery.
Yeah, I want the link for it.
I'll find it and I'll send it through.
Okay,
But it's available on Amazon, so who knew?
great.
All right, we have some questions from our attendees, so let's jump into those. Um, okay, Karen says, hi guys. I have some art and photographs I'm wanting to put up on a wall, but I don't have much experience organizing a gallery wall, so I'm a little intimidated. Thoughts or advice on how to approach?
Oh, well, Karen, it's a great question. And I love a gallery wall. I think it's a very inexpensive way to change your space. The number one thing you have to do is uniform frames. So I'll walk over, I'll show you mine, for example, but I keep all the frames the same. So can you see that? So it doesn't matter what size they are, but just make sure that if you wanted the black frame, depending on your space, then you do that. If you like the white frame, do that. And also Google gallery walls before you start putting yours up, and it will give you some good inspiration. And you'll see if I think sometimes people are thrown off by white frames, but it actually does a great job of like having them disappear in the wall. So it's not like you're not seeing so much frame, like the black ones, like you see the frame. So have it, make sure that it matches your space, but yes, use all the same frame, even if the sizes are different. And speaking of the aforementioned Amazon, they've got a great package, or Target does, if you just put in gallery walls, that they'll already come with, 6 or 8 or 9 frames, and then they ship them right to you. So you don't have to go and buy the sizes, and it just kind of comes in a nice little package. Last tip is lay out the gallery wall on the floor before you put it on the wall, so you can see what it looks like. Because when you start hammering nails into the wall, and then you're like, oh, I don't like the way that looks. So set it all up on the floor, right below where you're going to put it up, and then put it right up to the wall.
Okay. So Susan says, hi, what is the best way to decorate a room with minimal wall space? The room I'm referring to in our home has a fireplace on one wall and French doors to the outside, but minimal wall area.
So then I would say that your drapes, like your curtains, are going to be your substance on that wall. If you can add, if there's a perimeter, at least a little space on the side, I would do some sort of tapestry and curtains, whatever that looks like to you, whether it's, I like to elongate the space. A little tip is always take the curtain rod higher, take it all the way up to the ceiling, and that will automatically make your eye go up and make your space feel bigger. So people think like sometimes you just put the rod right above the window or the French door or whatever. No, take it as far up as you can, and keep that rod very simple and minimal. And then if you want to add color, or like I love Kelly Wersler, and she'll like do a big bold design in her curtains. But again, all preferential, taste, whatever fits your aesthetic. So I'd say, to answer the question, minimal wall space, then put all your attention into some curtains.
Okay. Let's see.
Or you can paint your fireplace, if that's an option. Sometimes the brick, like if it's brick, like you can whitewash the brick, or if it's white, then you can, you can paint it black. Like think about also if there's an opportunity to paint your fireplace, unless it's something like this where you're not going to be able to paint that. But the limestone on the side or something, you could change it up that way. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just a student here. I'm learning.
Finally, I can teach you something.
Okay, what do you think about Goldtone dining sets and velvet sectional sofas? Thinking about getting them for my space.
I love all of that. I think I have, I did velvet headboards in my house because I wasn't ready to commit to the velvet couch, because this is a very lived in living room. So the velvet, knowing that it's going to wear a lot because, just from constant use. Also, I have sleeping dogs, but I also did velvet on my dining room chairs. So I love the idea of doing velvet. Just keep in mind how often it will get used. So it doesn't, same as clothes, right, Jack? Like what if you look like a velvet pair of pants, those inner thighs are getting worked real quick on the
Chub
velvet
rub's
pants.
real.
Uh-huh. I mean, please. So
I
let's
can't
just,
even wear corduroy.
oh my, no. Oh my God. Well, I was having something the other day under my arm and I said, oh my God, somebody get me a free weight immediately because this rubbing is, I can't, it's a new thing and I'm not happy about it. So yes, so do the velvet couch. Just make sure it's not a couch that you're constantly using or else you'll see the wear. And the gold dining set, I'm all about that. The problem is I took a risk and did that. I bought some from CB2 and the dishwasher destroyed them. So make sure that they're a good quality gold and look real shoddy real quick.
Okay. Okay. Ariana is asking, do you have top tips for small spaces? I live in a studio apartment and I do my best to declutter, but it can be hard. Do you have any specific recommendations or inspiration for making a small space feel bigger?
So if your bed, it sits up on, if it's not on a platform bed that sits on the ground, storage under your bed is always a good thing. So I would get, again, the long, get them on Target or wherever, the long storage bins and put a bunch of stuff underneath your bed because you won't see that, right? It will be hidden. Also racks are always good. I mean, like the shoe racks or the purse racks or things that you can hang on the backside of a door. They make them cuter now. I remember some of the ones that I had in college were like trashy, but they make them really organization. There's a lot of good organization, options now. So I would just say to continue to keep things out of sight. So when you walk into the room, you're not feeling overwhelmed, like there's stuff everywhere. And again, going back to that idea of use your wall space, right? So if you want pictures and things like that in your space, but maybe you don't want the picture frame on a table because it's taking up real estate, then take your pictures up onto the wall. Like move things onto the wall as much as you can. That makes sense. And just, yeah, less is more in that kind of a space. And keep your colors lighter. And mirrors are another way to make your space feel much bigger. The reflection off of the mirror will make it, the space not feel so cramped.
So Diane is asking, she said, we have a super skinny hallway. Looks a bit like a horror movie hallway. How to make this space brighter and bigger?
Yes, lighting. So I'm not sure if there's a capability in your overhead recessed lighting to brighten that. So anything you can do to bring that area some light, make sure if there's any paint on that wall currently that it goes away and you go to white to make it look bigger too. You don't want to ever close in that what's already a small space with a dark color. Even something like a light gray will make it feel more closed in. So white and bright lighting. And then at the end of the hallway, I just did this for a client, she did a similar thing. Do mirrors at the end of the hallway. So it will feel like that opens up the space. So you're not just kind of walking into The Shining and wondering where your life's going. So
I mean,
mirrors.
at the very least, you'll be able to see behind you so you know no one's creeping up.
See, there you go, Jack. Now you're talking. Safety first.
Yeah, I mean, it's just practical. Real quick, I have a question that I would love to know. Do you have any, like a specific Instagram that you look at for inspiration? Or, I mean, Pinterest I know is huge, but sometimes it's overwhelming. Do you have any?
I'm with you. I do. I have a couple accounts that I followed for a long time. Amber Interiors, Amber Lewis is one. I love her style is something that really resonates with me. I'm a little bit more modern, less farmhouse than she is, but a lot of her styling is something I really like. I like Jenny Kane. I like a lot of designers that have neutral elements. I like being around water and like nature. It makes me feel calm. So I try to incorporate those elements inside a home as well. So like the wood table or a blue pillow or something where the light of the candle, like just natural outdoor elements, bring them inside. So yes, so Amber Interiors, Jenny Kane, I look at a lot. And it's so great that social media is a blessing and a curse. But I just on an explore page, doing so much more now in the design space, like there's incredible people that you just stumble upon that show you different DIY things and stuff like that. So I would just say continue to sort of peruse your explore page. And look, everyone's listening to us, so they know that you want design stuff. So those things will just pop up. You don't have to look too far.
Just say into your phone, home
The
design.
the other day, I was like, you know what? I should have went to law school when I lived in Malibu. I'm not kidding. 2 seconds later, Pepperdine Law School comes up on the, I'm like, yeah, they're listening to everything.
If only they could do it for some, like, I want to be like, I want $1 billion. Then can I go to my bank account? Like,
right? Yeah, exactly. Not just the
help us
creep
out.
factor. I know.
All right. Well, I think we've pretty much covered anything. Is there any last tips or anything you want to share? Do you feel like we?
No, I think just, to bring it completely back to even our, relationship, whenever I would walk in and I'm like, there's all these dresses and I'm, like, I just didn't even know where to start. So I think in the design space, the home design space, if it feels overwhelming, just start with one little area and just bring in things that you love, and don't try too hard, and just continue. Imitation is the highest form of flattery. If you like a room, you see it on an Instagram or Pinterest, do exactly that. Like, don't try to like get creative, like they did it for you. So just follow the mold there. I mean, we like a chocolate chip cookie recipe, right? Like, just follow the recipe. And so I would say that will kind of minimize you feeling overwhelmed.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
chatting.
Jack.
And
So
it was
good to
so
see
good to
you.
see you. Everyone who watched, thank you for attending. I
Thank
hope
you.
you enjoyed. We're going to stop now, and you'll have about 5 minutes before your next panel. And make sure that you follow Glam Hive and you follow Carissa, because I'm sure you'll be posting some cool stuff.
Our last thing, its company is called houseandhome.design.
Okay.
So houseandhome.design. And we'll have a bunch of new and exciting things and transformations of projects that we're working on. So those will be up, and we have tutorials on gallery walls and how to even make a bed. So check that out if you get
Well,
a
you're
chance.
definitely going to get one new follower.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Love you. So
All
good
right.
to see you, and thank you guys for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.